Hello everyone. What you'll be seeing in the background right now is the upcoming new carrier gameplay. Now for those that aren't aware, carriers have of course been considered pretty much entirely broken in this game for a while. They have the highest average damage, they have the highest average XP, they have the highest average win rate, they dominate the vision game, they dominate everything, and a good player is just a nigh untouchable in carriers. So obviously there's been a lot of requests for the rework, and Wargaming finally today revealed our first glimpse at the upcoming carrier rework, which will feature single squads with multiple attack runs. As you can see, three planes splitting off and doing multiple attack runs on different or same targets. Now, my first impressions are actually very positive, because this means that Wargaming have realized that one of the major issues with carriers right now is the fact that they offer so much vision. Carriers being able to spread planes all over the map means that they can just constantly neutralize multiple different ships just with the help of vision. Whereas with this new game mode, with this new game system, if you want to keep Shimakaze or a destroyer permanently spotted, it means you have to dedicate your entire strike force, because basically you have to dedicate your single squad that you use for striking, you have to dedicate to also spotting. So you basically no longer can blap a battleship on the left side of the map while hovering a fighter squad on top of a destroyer and ruining his game. So this is a good change. Another good change is that they're focusing more on dot damage instead of the alpha damage. There's no longer these instant devastating strikes, but it's more of these multiple small strikes, either with torpedoes or bombs or rockets. The idea is to spread out. They want to limit the pure raw alpha strike and make it more over damage over time. And also, of course, that there's multiple attack waves. This is also part of this. No more instant blapping, but more spread out damage. I think these are all very good changes. The vision game, though, we'll see how this fighter thing works. Right now that they have made it so that the fighters, you see that T icon, it summons these AI fighters that patrol the area and engage any enemy planes that come around. The question remains, of course, if these can't be used for scouting. You pop a fighter squad somewhere in a critical position, and then the fighter squad denies that area from enemy destroyers by spotting and so forth. There might be a lot of viable options here. Some initial worries I have when seeing these torpedo strikes is, of course, how close to the target they're able to drop them. The torpedoes are practically being dropped point blank range, which is something I've never liked, because, well, it means that there is no real counterplay against this, besides basically hugging hugging AA cruisers and hoping they can keep you alive, which of course requires team play to counter, and team play in random battles is always in short supply. And it will also mean that the same passive gameplay that's being forced by carrier will still be there. But right now, if there's a CV in a game, people kind of have to huddle together to deal with it, and that doesn't look like it will change too much. But then again, it's probably unavoidable with the design, so a bit questionable. We're seeing the new bombing mechanic, where you can actually aim your bombs better, which I find very interesting. In general, I find this new aiming mode quite engaging. It looks quite fun, and it looks like there's some possibility of counterplay by actively dodging, because they're basically dropping AFK ships here. I am worried though if they include AP bombs, because with this new targeting system, aiming for the Citadel will be a lot easier, and if they include AP bombs, well, they are kind of disgusting. I hope they will be removing those and focusing more on this damage over time, because I think it fits the class better. There are, of course, some potential issues with this new game mode. For example, the carrier. How will he control his own ship and do this and execute these strikes at the same time? Especially since the UI isn't exactly known for its snappiness. So hopping between this first-person view and the carrier back and forth might be a bit questionable. I mean, if a DD rushes you and your squad is all the way down here, how exactly do you defend yourself when you only have one squad? So there's no more the option of having squads around to scout for any incoming destroyers or flanking or whatever if your team suspects one might be coming around. It's questionable. We'll see how it plays out, but this will make the carriers extremely tunnel vision. We gotta keep that in mind. If they're only controlling one single squad in one single position, for people who are used to multitasking all across the map, there is the risk that this might feel quite boring and quite one-dimensional compared to the old gameplay. So it's going to be up to Wargaming to make this mode engaging and at least somewhat complex. But then again, the downside with making it complex is I don't even know if they want to do that, because one of the huge issues with carriers right now is that the experienced carriers absolutely annihilate the inexperienced carriers. They are changing it though. Obviously they want to make it more about planes versus ships instead of planes versus planes, so no more strafing, no more denying enemy strikes in that sense. All you can do is press T and summon a fighter squad. Seems a bit sketchy, but there is, I guess there is some potential there. Based on this, there's a possibility that Wargaming is straight up looking to get rid of these carrier specialists. Basically people who play nothing but carrier. They want to make it a more casual class and maybe get rid of pure carrier players because it might not fit the meta anymore. Well, carriers have been kind of been in an awkward position for a long time. These are the new rockets you're seeing right now. Once again, low initial damage, but seems to be high fire chance on those. How this will play out remains to be seen, but I am cautiously optimistic because I think this fits the style of World of Warships better. It makes the carrier more part of the battle, the fighters more part of the battle. It's less point and click and delete ships left, right and center, and it's less ruin the game for the 11 remaining players simply by having a good carrier in the game. So positive, yes, but obviously this mode will require a lot of balancing. There's some risks about the skill ceiling maybe being too low if they make it too simple, and if the skill ceiling is very low, then there will be very little ways to distinguish yourself as a talented carrier as opposed to being a potato carrier. Whereas right now, again, the skill ceiling is maybe too high because the difference between a potato carrier and a good carrier is absolutely momentous. But such issues wouldn't be as big of a problem if it wasn't, of course, for the fact that carriers are so dominant right now. They dominate all stats for a good reason, and experienced carrier players have absolutely ridiculous win rates for this reason. So this was very much needed. There's no doubt about that, but how it will actually play out remains to be seen. I am cautiously very optimistic though. I like the idea, I kind of like the design, it feels more engaged. The new AA visuals look cooler, the ability to dodge and so forth. There's a lot of dynamic potential gameplay, and overall I don't feel like they can make the carriers much worse than they are right now. Because right now carriers, I really do not like them. I don't enjoy the gameplay they offer to the game, and most of the time I enjoy matches without carriers more than matches with carriers, regardless of what ship I'm playing. Even when I'm playing heavily AA focused ships, I still prefer to play without the carrier, because the oppressive spotting that they provide is so frustrating to deal with, especially since concealment is such a massively powerful tool in this game right now. Ultimately though, a good change, and my initial impressions is cautious optimism, with some worries about how actually this will balance out and how they will keep players enjoying it. Anyway, that was all from me. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and well, we'll see what they churn out.